Actually, any.
You guys had a guy up there, his friend had a camper up there. We had a heck of a time getting him to move that camper. That's an interesting neighborhood back in there. I'm glad you guys got that sorted out though, because that's a weird problem right there. I bet.
Of the HPC to order, and welcome to everybody who's come to participate or just to listen. If you've not been here before, and I see a lot of people who have, but please read the statement at the bottom of the agenda, and that will tell you why we're here. We're all volunteers and happy to be doing something for the city of Lynchburg. The first item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? All right, thank you. The first item of new business is the request of Alec Gilman of Gilman and Associates LLC on behalf of Sylvia Johnson to expand a deck and relocate a staircase at 507 13th. Are you Mr. Gilman? Please. Welcome. And if you would tell us what you're hoping to do.
I gotcha. As the diagram shows, I'm a contractor here in Lynchburg, and their current situation is their deck is oddly shaped, and they'd like it to be a rectangle like that, and we're going to relocate the stairs to the other side. All the same materials. I'm going to remove, they've got some PVC boards up there, and we're going to get rid of all that. Same materials, no composite.
Painted back in the same, painted back in the same.
Once it dries, yes, sir. I mean, the pressure treated lumber needs to
Oh, yeah,
sit.
you gotta let a little age.
It's the same deck. We're adding 40 square feet and changing the staircase, or moving the staircase.
Pretty straightforward.
Looks straightforward to me.
It
Is
does
there a
indeed.
motion?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, you're good to go, Mr. Goldman.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is the request of Lauren Smike. Smick.
Yes.
Thank you, of Jamerson Lewis, on behalf of AHC Investments to replace the front porch roof at 1312.
Yes, ma'am. I guess last time, I was here last month, and we decided that what I proposed wasn't really gonna be close enough, so I looked at the information that Eve had sent me about another product you had mentioned that is discontinued. But this one is it's pretty much exactly the same, just a different company. But it's just a composite type terracotta. So it's gonna be that same color, desert red, as you saw there. Has a 50-year warranty to it. Is a lot lighter. So hopefully will be a lot less issues. But our plan is to completely remove the existing, remove the rotted gutter and all the rotted wood underneath, replace the gutter, and then install new terracotta. It's composite.
Any comments or questions?
Thank you. you for
Yeah.
reevaluating other
Yes.
options.
You're welcome.
You're
Make a
making happy
motion.
people.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve as submitted.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you so much.
very
Appreciate it.
The next item is the request of Joshua Dugan to install a privacy fence at 1312 and 1314 Rivermont.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce your name
You
right?
did, thank you.
Oh, great. Okay. If you would tell us what you want to do. what you
Sure. The
plan.
property had a dilapidated metal fence that was mostly taken down. So 2 years ago, we got a permit to get the back area taken care of. Its bamboo forest is overgrown, and so we had that removed, had it re-landscaped. Now we want to put in a privacy fence so we can have dogs and whatnot that can run around and not run into the street. It's going to be in the back section, which is on the right of this screen. It would be a 6-foot high privacy, which is well off the view path from Rivermont. The areas that are viewable from Rivermont would be the 4-foot as outlined in the historical guidelines. There's a access fence on both sides of the property, so you can get to the backyard. The one on the north side of this picture, that one's 2 5-footers, so you can still bring a vehicle back in for landscaping, that sort of things. And somewhere in here is a picture of the material used. It's the dog ear top on the fence, which is what Lowe's traditionally is installing. We're having them do the work. And if they're,
And keep me honest on this one. I believe everything he's doing is what we would call the backyard. Can't it all be 6 feet if he
can go-
desired?
Yeah, he can go all the way up to 8 feet,
Uh,
but I think the historic district guidelines stipulate something different.
yeah, the district said that if I remember it right, anything that was viewable from the road, which the front
Okay,
corners are,
okay.
and so those have to be 4 feet. If we could do 6,
It's,
I don't know
that's
if
why I
we
was
mind,
asking.
but
It's the positioning of your house and kind of on a corner, it's a little different.
yeah, you can see, especially on the right side of the house, you can see that very clearly from the road. And the way the backyard slopes anyway, 4 feet up front, would visually make sense. As
Oh,
it
it's
slopes
almost
down, it
even.
picks up to the 6 feet.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Dugan, we'll look for your fence. The next item is a request of Ryan Plythe. I'm really getting a workout on these names, to install a privacy fence at 1310 Rivermont, which
Yes,
is
that's
right
right.
next door.
Yeah, so we're neighbors with the Dugans, and we're gonna share the fence along their property. And then, at the back, we also had a dilapidated metal fence that was removed, and all of the bamboo has been cleared in our backyard and, grass replanted. And there's an existing retaining wall. The fence will not go along that retaining wall. It'll start where the retaining wall ends and go to the side, the southern end of the house on the picture. It'll be 6-foot fence along there. And we're using the same material. It's the dog ear fences.
Do I hear a
Straightforward
motion?
I think it's great they're gonna match.
Yeah,
I make a motion to approve as submitted.
second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next is the request of Aaron Boyce to install a picket fence with an arched gate and replace the roof and gutters at 1419 Clay Street. Thank you, Mr. Boyce. If you'll explain to us.
Yeah, so basically everywhere where there's that kind of orange color will be a picket fence. We have kind of, where it sort of goes through the yard there is a 5 or 6 foot existing retaining wall because we're on a pretty significant slope, so the yard is kind of split into an upper yard and lower yard with the retaining wall running through the yard. And so that will be 3.5 foot fence, just so we're not falling off the retaining wall. There's an existing stone wall at the top there. We won't need to fence along that. My neighbor actually, there's a retaining wall, but then their fence above that. And so, if you're kind of looking at the house, the right side, little side yard there, you can kind of see where their fence is and our fence, will be, and, looking to just kind of keep that gap. Well, I'm not quite sure on that, actually, how we're gonna join those two fences if we need to. But, yeah, 3.5 foot picket fence, kind of back from the street, back off the sidewalk like that, just a fence in the backyard. That's kind of a idea of the arch gate that we're sort of going for. Not totally sure where we're gonna source that yet, but something that kind of will go with the picket fence and be sort of a garden gate. And it's a little dark, but you can kind of see in that previous picture, tried to draw the picket fence there, a little bit set back in the side yard there, so. We're also looking to replace the roof, so this is just a picture of the charcoal black from the Certainty landmark line that our roofer recommended. It is a change, the current color on it is a still shingle roof, but the current color is, I think, autumn brown, and so we're going with a black roof instead of the brown.
Normally, re-roofing in the same material is administrative approval, but because of the color change, I included it with the other items.
Questions?
Speaking for myself, the only thing I don't know how to approve or what I'm approving is the arched, gate. If I see what you're teeing up, but you said that you don't know how or where to source this, so I don't know really what I'm approving at this point.
Right. I didn't really see many guidelines for an arched gate, of course, not wanting it to stick out, from what the fence would be, that kind of thing. So, I don't know if you need something more specific than this, or what.
Yeah, typically,
Yeah.
we want to know what kind of fence, what the pickets look like, the height, et cetera. So the same would apply to a gate, or certainly something that's a deviation from a fence or a traditional gate.
Okay.
Where are you planning on putting it?
So this is that right side yard,
Right
yeah.
there. Okay.
Crude little arch drawing there.
Is it possible we approve it if it is similar
Just
to
an
the?
arch of
what's-
some sort
What
with
it's,
a
well,
certain
similar
height?
to what is pictured, and then if it's changes, he would need to come back?
I'm not saying I can't approve it, I just need to know what I'm
Sure.
approving.
Well, I'll say, I guess when I mean I don't know where I'll source it is, we're probably going to purchase the gate rather than making it,
Sure,
And
sure.
so, that one there was off Tractor Supply. I don't know if that's gonna end up being the best deal,
Fair enough.
kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And so, but that's what we're going for, a
Something in
wooden, probably lattice side gate, like that. I know that's vague.
I guess that doesn't look like a gate. It looks more like a trellis.
Oh,
Where-
right,
yeah.
okay,
But
okay.
is
Yeah.
the gate is the gate gonna be in front of it and would open into it? Is that-
Sorry, I'm misunderstanding. Yes, the pickets will continue, and it will be a picketed gate with a latch. So,
Right.
same materials as the fence, just inside of this arch will be a swing out hinged picket
Yeah.
gate. sorry.
I was
Yeah, thank you
envisioning
for
that,
helping
yeah.
me.
I'm saying gate, but you're right, that's not a gate.
Yeah, it's a trellis. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good as long as, like you suggested, you were gonna use wood. If there's like vinyl lattice or posts or what have you, that's not going to be appropriate.
Right, okay.
Other thought, I mean, I'm only speaking for me, but yeah.
I'm good now
We would
that
use
I
wood.
understand.
Yep.
Maybe you could make it just that it's a 4-foot wood picket fence is approved,
Yeah,
yeah.
And the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I have no issue with
Okay. Do I hear a
that. You
motion?
look like you're in
Oh.
thought.
No, so we're gonna have him, he'll need to come back, are you saying, for the trellis?
No.
Or
No,
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 no.
as long as he makes
Okay.
one out of wood that, yeah,
Okay.
resembles this or closely, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, you want me to go ahead? Having said that, yeah, with the understanding that we've made, I make a motion to approve the submittal as, the request as submitted.
Okay, is there a second? Okay.
Just
More
a
discussion.
good discussion, is it painted, the fence?
So we're gonna go natural, natural stain,
Okay.
not painted.
Which is okay.
Yeah,
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
yeah, just a suggestion, put something on it to prevent it from aging,
Of course.
stain,
Yeah.
polyurethane, whatever, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions? No. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, you're good to
Thank you,
go.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next is the request of Casey Service of Service Architecture Company on behalf of R. Mark Bogia to construct a rear addition at 315 East Street. And because this dwelling and then the bank on Rivermont Avenue are non-contributing, I asked Eve to say something about how we deal with non-contributing structures in a historic district.
So non-contributing structures are still subject to the guidelines and your review, but in some cases, there is a certain leniency that can be given to these properties. For example, I'm pretty sure we've approved vinyl windows on a non-contributing structure previously, things of that nature. So should still be kept in mind that it's in the district, but it's non-contributing and was built after the period of significance.
Okay. All right, Casey, you're on.
All right, thank you. So this is a non-contributing house. The existing house is, I think, around 750 square feet, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. We actually came here 3 years ago with the original house. It was just a CMU block house. Tony owned it. We put fiber cement siding on it, did some upgrades on the exterior. And then Mark bought the house and has been living in it, but it's just not quite big enough. And so we're looking to construct a primary suite addition to the rear to the rear side, just to give him some more living space. Almost, not quite, but yeah, it definitely makes it a much more livable house. And because of the way the original house was constructed, the eaves and therefore the ceilings are really low, and Mark's pretty tall, which is really the main decision factor in going with the shed roof, just to get some more ceiling height. We'll go with the cathedral ceiling in there just so it opens up that space for him.
Okay.
But we tried to keep, we're keeping it below the ridge line, so you really won't see much of it from the street.
Well, it's in quite good condition.
Much better than it was
Yeah,
a few years
yeah.
ago.
And the only house on on East Street on that section going towards Rivermont. And right across from where maybe we will have those new houses. So,
Maybe. He's hoping they take a really long time, because he's got a great view of downtown from his front
Right.
porch.
yeah,
It's been a long time so far.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So,
Keith, can you pull a street view on that?
That's what I was just doing.
Thank you. Can you go next door and across the street? Excuse me, I have a raspy
Sure.
throat today.
yeah. So the house you see is on Hancock Street. Is that Hancock or?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
Hancock, yeah,
That's the one.
down,
Yeah.
down the hill.
Well, I had a question about vinyl windows. But since all the windows there are vinyl.
That's really the only
Yeah.
reason I put it in there, because I think they were approved
Yeah.
the last time around. And he may go with something
Mm.
nicer, but we wanted to make sure we were covered there.
What is the footprint and the square footage?
So the existing house is around 750, and it's a just under 400 square foot addition.
Yeah.
And you can see that orange door on the shed, that's his shed in the backyard, and there's probably about, obviously the photo really compresses it, but I think it's about 10 feet from the back of the addition to where the shed is currently.
I think it would be an improvement to have some more house there. So, are there any questions, comments? Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve as submitted.
I'll second
All right, any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? All right.
Thank you all very much.
You're welcome, thank you, Casey.
Have a great evening.
Okay, next is the request of Mark Smith on behalf of St. John's Episcopal Church to do extensive work at 2477 Rivervine Avenue. Welcome.
Seeing y'all again.
Yeah.
This is Neil Davis, and he's representing the church.
Okay, thanks, welcome.
Thank you.
So, Mark, you've got a lot you're asking us to do, so jump in.
All right. Just a little backstory. The church bought the BB&T bank building there on the corner, Elmwood and Rivermont, and wanted to make a youth house and a community center out of it. And they also wanted to relocate a playground that they had previously designed for their day school. And so by purchasing the bank building and the site, it changed their master plan, basically, of how they were going to approach this. Currently, they have a youth house across Boston Ave that house will potentially be sold back as a residence and put the youth house toward the front. As we probably know, if you've been past that area right there, it's overgrown. It's kind of just it's a bank building. There's a bunch of those around. You can go out Timberlake Road and see another one, if you want to. But they're all built the same way. So very indicative of a bank building, trying to depart from the bank feel and try to make the youth house cohesive with the campus. The church building proper is brick and stucco that's painted. And of course, across the street, you've got Magnolias that's painted brick, and you've got the sports shop, the River Ridge Runners, and then you go on up. You know, all of those avenue shops right there, a lot of them are painted brick, so there's some context to it. Just trying to get away from the whole feel of, this was a bank. That's the whole premise of painting the brick and trying to bring it into the campus proper. So there's going to be a roadway. Yeah, let me kind of explain as Eve clicks through these photographs, it might help. This is looking from Elmwood, looking in where the asphalt is. That'll be removed. There'll be a playground right where she circled up the cursor there. And the sidewalk will continue where it does right now. But that entranceway right there will go away, and that'll become grass, curb and gutter, so there won't be an entrance there any longer. And then, you know, I know y'all love fences, so we've got the fence, you know, submittal here also for around the playground. But it'll be artificial turf at the playground, 6-foot metal fence. This is how we connect. We're connecting in with their site. So right now, obviously, it's two sites, BB&T and the church, but we're going to create a connector right there. Yep, that's going to allow. Yeah, that's my nice little sketch there. It's kind of hard to read what's going on there, but yeah, that little gray area right there is new asphalt that will connect the two parking lots. And what that does for the church is it allows their day school program for parents to be able to drive through there and drop children off and pick children up without having to go out on Bedford Avenue, Boston Ave or Elmwood. And that's the way they have to do it now, just because that arrow that I've got at the back of the church right there, go on up, Eve, keep going, whoa, come back down, yeah, to the left. That little arrow pointing into the building. That's where the children come in and out of their day school program. So this will be a really nice asset for them to be able to connect through and allow parents to get back on Boston Ave, and go up and pick the light up right there at the corner of Boston and Rivermont. So this has been a great site for them to acquire, and I know the paint on the brick is a little, out of character for what y'all like to do, but please consider that it is a 1972 building that was the same brick that's used at every other, every BB&T bank building around at that time. And I think it was the First Federal, actually, was originally. It was. Crest Roads designed it, and they just stamped out a bunch of those things. And so just trying to make a departure from that. And then it's up in the air as to whether the church is going to want to use the drive-through area. We're trying to get away from that drive-through feel. So I'm putting in some landscaping that's along the right side of the building, and put landscaping in there, and either have a sunroom or a outdoor patio, keeping the roof as it is and the columns as it is. Let's see, what other big ideas? Yeah, I don't think you'll have any problem with the fence. We got two options on the fence. One is a factory fabricated type that's used all over the city. And then my favorite is the fabricated locally with a hoop. And we haven't decided which one of those, but we'd like to have those options. We'd like y'all to approve both of those and allow the church to have an option when they start getting into the final design of it. Yeah, while you're on that, Eve, there's two options on the little equipment. It's an outdoor unit to the left rear of the BB&T bank building, and either using an enclosure like that, that's lattice or picket type. And I know y'all like wood painted, but I'd like to use either AZAC or a PVC with a low sheen finish on it. That's what I like. I love AZAC. But I like AZAC painted. So these are the two options. The top one, option 1A or 1, is just simply a steel metal fence that goes around to create a buffer between the parking lot and to make it a little bit more cohesive with the building itself. Where the teller window is, would take that out, cut in a new opening, have a pair of doors there, and then to the left, cutting in a window. Yeah, right there. Completely to the left of that is a vault, so there's nothing. That's why you don't see really anything on the front of the building as far as windows. The vault is in that corner. So yeah, the concept B is really just a full glazed type of sunroom. I don't think that's the direction y'all are going, is what I keep hearing. Yeah, I think it's gonna be concept
Option
A,
one.
but I haven't gotten anybody to sign off on which one they want, unless you wanna sign off now.
I'd like to have the
Solo.
options, but
Yeah.
I'm 99% sure we're going with that outdoor area more, because we want to have a place where the kids can be outside more.
Yeah, and that leads into the site, looking at taking out a lot of that scrub type landscaping and making it a little bit more open and inviting to that corner. Right now, it's got a maple tree that's just in really bad shape, ivy growing up the side of the building, ground cover that's gone awry, just unkept. And really the trees are too big for the site. So looking to bring it back down with dogwoods and crepe myrtle and red buds, something a little bit more native-like. Site lighting, I don't know if we're even gonna need anything. The light post that we've got there, I went out and took some photos at night, and it shines pretty well. But that post that's to the right is coming out, and I just want to relocate that. I think it's about 6 feet, looking at the civil drawings now. Beyond that shrub right there, that peninsula right there, is where the playground would go. So you're looking back toward Elmwood. And those apartments across the street there at Elmwood. And so this is the back of the building. So we just relocate that lamp. And then we've also going to relocate the lamp that's near the Elmwood entrance once the playground goes in, because that gets altered. It gets in the way of the lamps, these two lamp posts. But we're not changing the lamps, just moving them 6 or 8 feet one direction to get out of the way of the playground.
So all the parking will be gone.
Sir?
All the parking
All the parking lots.
is gone?
No, to the right, yeah, that's a good shot, or either one of those. Yeah, come on in there. The post office is to the right.
Mm-hmm.
We keep all the parking just as it is right there. We pick up maybe 2 or 3 spaces off-site, off of the Rivermont site, right there at the back of the church where the connector is. And then to the left, right, there, we're going to end up, I think, with actually 2 parking spaces there, because I want to keep cars and playground kind of more separated than what I've got right there. It's going to be more like 2 or maybe even none.
The church has always used the parking lot on off hours, and so I'm just curious about what impact all this will have on the community around where there's more cars gonna pre-parked on the street, but you haven't lost many, so that's good.
Right. Yeah, the good part is the church gains use of it every day of the week rather than just on Sunday or after hours. I think their biggest concern is probably people, including myself, when I go to the post office, I tend to pull in there.
Or Randolph Macon people park in there if there's something across the street. Here's one.
So we've got a walkway that's going from the church up to the playground right there. And that's pretty close, even though it's a concept. Looking at the civil drawing that I saw the other day, kind of comes out just about like that. We've got an ADA ramp, sidewalk really, up near the front of the youth house. And I've got that called out as brick pavers laid dry. Everything else is concrete in the front. So I don't know, might like to ask for concrete there just to stay with the concrete. And the sidewalk that's there now is a concrete sidewalk. But,
Question, just, it's a curiosity question more
Sure.
than that,
Fire
just
away.
outside the scope. When you were just saying that the walkway, from the church to the playground to the youth house, is there a way for the youth to get into it, to walk there without going through the playground if it were being used?
yeah, good question, because I've asked the same thing a couple of times. The sidewalk that goes to the playground is really just for the day school.
Oh, that's right, yeah, okay.
There'll also be there'll be two gates. I've got arrows pointing at the one at the north and one at the south. The one at the south will be more, and that's an existing sidewalk that runs along there. We're not doing anything with that sidewalk, but that would be more for the community, because this is opened up for the community, neighborhood as well, after day school's out. And so as far as youth, Neil, you want to address that? I mean, we know that they're coming in through the rear of the building, but they're probably going to come through the parking lot from the back of the building. Is that the way it's going to go?
You mean from when they're in the school?
No, the youth, if they're doing something at the church building
Right.
proper and they're going to the youth house,
Right, they will be coming out where that arrow, kind of the top,
Okay,
there's an entrance, there's another entrance to the left of there that comes out of the kitchen. So it'll be coming up that way and walking up the green space.
yeah, they'll probably come up the connector, won't they? Up the asphalt
Right.
and then through the back. The back door is their front door.
Right.
Okay, I lost you, I'm sorry.
The opposite way of those blue arrows, kind of, they would, yeah.
Yeah, so would that be the direction, okay.
They, if the teens maybe were walking.
Right.
Yeah. I was just curious.
Yeah, good question,
Thank
yeah.
you.
I asked it, and we actually still haven't nailed down 100% as far as where that green space is, that is between the playground. That's gonna get a little bit larger. I met with the civil engineer and we worked that out, but we're actually gonna take over that parking space that's to the right of the green, yeah, right there, Eve. We're gonna take that over and make that green space and create a more direct or a more buffer
Right.
between the playground and the parking area, which allows the youth a little bit more open area there before you go out onto the asphalt.
Right.
Big project.
Yeah, it's ambitious.
Yeah. Questions, comments?
What do the guidelines say about painting brick?
Paint should not be applied to buildings which have never been painted before unless the brick is mismatched, stained, or pitted from abrasive cleaning, When painting a brick building, use colors sympathetic to the original brick, such as shades of brown, red, or tan.
Yeah, that's what I read too. Okay.
And if we were talking about a contributing building, I don't think I'd even come to you with that.
Sure.
It's trying to make this tie back into the campus, really. I mean, that's 99.9% of the reason for painting the brick, is to tie it into the church proper and to kind of get away from that whole bank building feel that, it's, you know, if it's not painted, it's gonna really feel like the same bank building that you see every time you go out and, you know, Timberlake Road and see the bank building out there. And there's some context across the street. If you look up
Sure.
The Avenue shops, there's loads of painted brick. And like I said, the church building proper is painted brick.
So I personally like the idea of tying it in with the same color, which is
I
a
feel like,
soft
I'm so
color.
sorry.
Oh, that's okay, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna jump on what you were saying with the, and I know it's not in the intention of the mismatched isn't necessarily for this specific context, but I feel like it could be applied in the sense of it would bring cohesion to the
Project.
the main, you know, the main campus and create cohesion and matching. I know, I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch, but I feel like it would make it cohesive, and it would look good with what's across the street as well, with the painted brick.
And actually, I think everything across the street is painted.
Mostly it is.
Riverside Runners and,
The post office is not painted. The 60s era apartment houses aren't painted, so there are a lot of unpainted brick buildings right around it, and some of it, as you see across the street, is, and some of it's not. As you can see, it's a mixed bag. I'm torn out. One level, sure, I like the sort of, it ties it all together. Also, you know, guidelines are guidelines, or they're not commandments, I guess, but that's where I'm torn on this, so.
and because it's not contributing, we can deviate, right?
There is a level of
There.
leniency that the commission is allowed, yes.
Yeah, so that's where I'm coming from.
Do you know the age of the church proper, the building?
I believe, I think it's just under 100 years.
I've always heard that painting is bad, but clearly it's been painted for some time. You're more the expert on that.
Painting brick affects the porosity, the way it breathes, the way moisture is kept in the building. Could, certainly, you know, Mark, it could create issues where any moisture getting behind it doesn't have a way to get out anymore, and suddenly you've got a mold or.
And I get that with historic brick and lime mortar, get it, understood. But we're talking about 1970s hard-fired clay brick, Portland cement mortar, a conditioned building that probably has, you know, vapor barrier on the inside, you know, a little bit more modern construction, obviously. It's air conditioned, it's heated, it's been that way. I'm not worried about damaging brick on this building. Again, if we were talking about, you know, 100-year-old brick, lime mortar, et cetera, soft brick, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
So questions, there must be a lot of questions.
For me, I'm not a fan of the painting of the brick. Everything else is wonderful. I think it's wonderful that the church has taken it over,
do too.
as opposed to it sitting and being a derelict thing over time. I just personally can't get around painting the brick. I think we fight that fight way too often, to just happily say, oh, go ahead. So, you know, for me, if this would be a separate item, I would absolutely agree to go with everything else that's being shown, but I personally can't get on board with the painting of the brick. I think you could do some other things that could debank it, if you will, you know, portico at the entrance and some things to lessen the bank image. But just from the painting the brick standpoint, I mean, gosh, we have fought on that hill too many times.
Well, if this were a standalone building just there, I would feel the same way, that we shouldn't. But I see it as part of a campus, and they're trying to tie the campus together. And so I don't have any problem with it because of the context.
That's where
I know, and that's why I wondered what we were bound by, because I knew the guidelines said no painted brick. But we can deviate, and we have. So other comments?
Yeah, you plan on doing anything else with the building, or just leaving it as it is?
On the interior?
Exterior.
Oh, the exterior? No, the front door will stay the same, back door will stay the same, all the light fixtures are staying the same. It's really that portico, or that bank drive-through, that's the big change.
To add a window and a door.
And put the fence around it
A
for a patio.
wooden window?
Pardon me?
A wooden window?
It'd probably be, you know, like a Marvin aluminum, semi-divided, light aluminum painted white. Same mud and pattern as what's on the other side, the left side of the building. There's 2 windows on the left. There's 1 on the rear.
So is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted, given the feedback that Sean and I both
That we agree.
Would you
Share.
be open to a motion that would leave the paint separate from all the other items in case they're, would want others to be?
Seems to be a little bit of a conflict here. Is there anything that you think it could be done if the building is painted? Anything else that could be done to the exterior of the building to make it more,
Less bankish?
Exactly, to make it look like a square box, because it is a standalone building.
Yeah.
It stands all by itself out there.
Well,
Yeah.
the whole I asked the church, you know, and I had some suggestions from the staff there that said, can you use Gothic arches and that type of thing? And I said, no, you don't want to start there. You're going to be stripping the building out. It's just not a Gothic building. But the purpose of the church is to try to take that corner and make it inviting from the neighborhood side of the Rivermont, corner of Rivermont and Elmwood. Right now, they're tucked back in there. There's no better way than to paint the brick the same or a complementary color to the church and really draw that in together as make it a campus. I mean, that's the, getting away from the bank look is one thing. It's another thing trying to make it feel like it's part of the campus cohesively.
Sure.
And color is significant in that approach.
And if a bagel shop had bought it and we were debating this color, would we allow them to paint it?
A who?
A bagel shop. Let's say someone just came along and bought that. Is it because it's a church that some of
Oh.
us are more willing to say,
I am not at
"Sure."
all, no. That doesn't impact
Yeah.
for me in any way. It's, I think, the presentation of the context and use in the sense of the campus, whether that was, regardless of what, whether that was, it doesn't impact me in any positive way, what.
No, nor does it me.
But I am reading the guidelines, but I also know it's a building from 1972.
And it's
Right, and
non-contributing.
non-contributing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Motion on what?
The motion to approve what was presented.
In its entirety.
Mhm. Am I allowed to second it? I don't think so.
No.
No.
All right, with that failing, I'd like to make a motion to approve all items except the brick painting to be considered as a separate item as submitted.
Okay, is there a
Second that.
second?
And that would come up for another meeting?
No,
No,
right
we,
now.
could be a separate motion next.
Say again?
That would be another motion coming after this one.
Okay.
Did I hear a second?
I second, yeah.
Oh,
Okay, is a vote against?
It's just,
no,
you're
it's,
accepting
no,
it.
it's just a motion for those
Okay,
items. I haven't said
okay.
anything about painting.
Okay. All right, is there more discussion?
Does that include all of the options that they've presented? So they have.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All
Now
right.
that can be a brick motion.
Well, I make a motion to approve the brick painting to white.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Maybe we better raise our hands.
Aye, raise your hand.
Aye is raise your hand. We're tied. So a tie fails.
No.
Uh,
I think it will clearly still be the church. I think getting rid of the drive-through makes stunning impression. I like option B better than A because it makes the building more residential and a component of the church as opposed to just a patio with a little railing. I think that goes a long way, and I think you could maybe push a portico out front where the front door is, one out the back where the back door is. That could be something that could be less bankish without painting the brick. That would make it, I mean, it's clearly gonna be, well, is there, nothing was said about the sign. Do we have anything about?
It's somewhere in there.
Future signage is proposed, but they didn't
Okay,
submit
so
any.
clearly, there's gonna be signage that, makes that, no, so for me, I think it's going to be your campus without painting it, and, gosh, college campuses have diverse buildings left and right, and they're still the campus. So for me, I don't think painting it is going to be the one solution that, boom, it suddenly is. I think there's so many other things, particularly the day-to-day activity. It's clearly gonna be your church facility and gonna be your church campus. But for me, just the painting of the brick just says so much to, it says to the buildings right across the street next to Magnolia, the florist and all those that are brick, well, we should paint ours so that make that block homogeneous.
But I think it's in relation to the church and that campus.
I hear
And
you.
I think, like, color is such a powerful, shows connection, like, you draw a connection with similar colors, so
Yeah.
and it is non-contributing, so I do feel we have the right
Yeah,
to.
you have the right, yeah,
To-
I have the right to not.
Well, I'm just saying, yes, I think we are able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well
agree. I think it's a terrible mistake
And that,
not to approve it. A terrible
can I
mistake.
slide around and have your ear for a second?
Can you have my ear?
Yeah, off camera. And there you only get to vote to break a tie. I think.
No, I don't think so.
Is that right?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. If there is a tie vote,
Then it fails.
Hmm?
So it fails.
it
So-
fails, but can it be brought up again? I know if somebody on the losing side brings it up, it can, but when there's no side,
I think if it fails, then it's denied, so.
so the losers have to bring it up.
No, I mean, the
Yeah.
church could bring it back,
Yeah.
correct?
But do they have to bring it to city council, like?
If the
since-
application were different, they could bring it back.
To us, you mean?
Yeah, mm-hmm.
But if they're still wanting the same thing, they would have to go to city council.
Then they would have to appeal it.
To say, you were denied here and you're requesting.
Our next step is city council.
Yeah, I would go, yeah.
Yeah, we'll build, okay, yeah, that's, well, I'll say that's the one thing, with all our parishioners, we've had so many different opinions, as you might guess, as a church, and this has been a huge project for us, and it's kind of overwhelming, but the one thing everyone agrees with
Is
is
the
they want to put
paint.
it until it looks all the same, so we'll definitely continue this one.
Now, you could bring the petition back if you chose a specific color and you changed the application that way. In this sense, it was, you had a wide range, so that might be a way to circumnavigate having to go all the way to council.
Wide range of
But if, what
And
if,
if-
what's gonna
Colors.
change?
Well,
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 there's
Julie's not
one,
here.
there's one more person.
Right.
Julie is in here, so,
Tiebreakers.
yeah.
yeah.
But is it, they have to consider that's another month, and then if that got denied, another month to city, I don't know.
Yeah, but
what your
everything else could
timeline-
proceed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right. And if you do, choose to come back with a specific color, but otherwise, I would go to council.
All right, thanks for the advice. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we have one item of old business. Eve, have you had any contact from Mr. Jordan?
So he did not let me know that he was not coming. Since our last meeting, Ben and I actually went out to the neighboring house to try and get some window measurements, since the houses are pretty similar. So this is what we came up with, an approximate range of 20 inches to 36 and a half inches of width, 69 and a half inches to 81 and a half inches of height. Just about every single window was a different measurement from each other, so that was interesting.
It's the 19th century.
Yeah, so these are some of the windows that we measured. There were more, but they all fit in that range. So he did submit a quote with the arched windows, and these are SDL with a spacer. You can see that there. He didn't indicate where each of these windows were going. There are a wide range of measurements.
Those are not the windows that came out. Those are a half arch versus a flat arch. It's so dramatically different.
Yeah, so this is what he gave me. He didn't give me anything else for the rectangular windows. And this was the picture of the front door that we took, but he hasn't submitted anything for that. So, we're not,
Those windows
Yeah.
versus what the
Go back to
picture
the
before.
previous one,
That, when we approved that, those openings, we did not approve ripping those openings out and starting over.
yeah. And unfortunately, they have been altered beyond being able to measure what was there.
But they can go back.
At the point that we're at in this, I would caution the commission and the use of their language, because this is likely going to go forward to litigation is the next step, depending on your approval, denial, or table. Just FYI.
Okay. Well, I think it's a valid statement that the commission's approval of his application from 3 months ago, his initial application was to basically keep these openings in place and find new sashes or new windows that slide into these openings. And for me, that's what was approved and completely ignored by the applicant. So rebuilding as close as possible to what was approved in the initial application would seem to be the approach that should be taken.
I agree totally. Peter, I don't think you were part of that.
No, it was not.
Yeah, but we did approve specific windows, and he's not done anything really.
And is there not a way to, I mean, having those photographs of the original, it seems there could be some math done to
Could be
figure
close.
out the height of the
You could
building.
get it close.
Yeah, like, you know, I don't think it's impossibility to figure out what the original size was.
I mean, you could,
Like,
play the height game, you get the width, you get the exposure of one board, you count how many boards are from bottom to top.
Right.
You get a pretty close approximation of what's there. Width-wise, you can see it in relation to what might be down below. So, yeah, I think generally one could find, it may not be within the quarter inch, it may not be within an inch, but it's gonna be pretty darn close.
right,
Yes, could easily approximate that.
right, okay. And same for
So-
the,
So Eve, what kind of motion do we need?
So we have to have a decision at this meeting. It's been tabled to the extent that it can be tabled, so that leaves either approval or denial.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I move to deny the arch-top windows per this application, noting the initial COA approval of working within the existing openings with new windows, leaving the original openings intact.
Okay.
Close?
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
So that's for the arch windows, but what about for the openings and the rectangular and then the front door?
For the front door, his last statement was that he was gonna use the two existing front doors and make those become one door in place with those original materials. So that, I think we approved doing that, did we not?
No, we tabled it.
We tabled
Because
it,
we were
okay.
waiting to see a design for what he was proposing.
And I'd make a motion to approve retrofitting the two existing historic front doors into one operable front door within the same opening that exists.
The existing
The
opening.
existing opening. Thank you.
Okay. Let's do that and then we'll deal with the windows. Is there a second?
I'm pulling back up pictures. The front
Yeah,
door was
can-
square, not rounded.
Right,
I think
that's-
that was a transom.
There was a transom.
Go back.
yeah, because isn't the
there you go.
shape change?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
approving that shape?
Yes, we're approving, not on the right, we're approving what was on the original
So
on
when
the
you
left.
say existing, you don't mean what's existing today, you mean original?
The original,
Yeah.
yeah, he
Okay.
showed, the
And
previous
that's what
picture,
he showed.
Eve,
Right,
that he shows the two went there. So
Yeah.
he's got the two leaves in place, and he said he was he's gonna do a Vulcan
Join
mind
them or
meld
something?
and have one door and somehow make it work. That's what was said.
So help me understand, I'm approving the concept that he can execute that idea, that's, I just want to understand.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, in theory, he can get biscuits let into the two edges and seal them together, and then he's gonna have to get some
I'm guessing
honking.
that's heavy, right?
He's gonna got to get some honking hinges, probably, 4 hinges on the other side, and maybe even have to beat the jam up, but he says he can do it.
So
Remember
we
why he
discussed all of that? Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I may not have been there. Did we discussed all of that? Like, he understands that?
I mean, that was what he sat at the table and said he could do.
Yeah, he did.
Now,
I was confused about his intent for the door, so
yeah, I mean, if he was going to say, I can rebuild one new door in this exact image of the 2 doors, I'd be all right with that too. That it's gonna be a new door. It's gonna still have the same weight issue, that he's gonna have to beef up the hinge condition, maybe even the jam,
jam,
the
yeah.
strength of the jam to hold it so that it doesn't lean over time.
Right.
But that was what was proposed
Yeah.
with him sitting here. He had this picture on the screen and said, I'm gonna take those 2 doors and I'm gonna make a new front door. I mean, he could leave it as 2 doors. I mean, it wouldn't, there's no reason why you couldn't use the 2 doors independently and still, I mean, people have those all the time.
I do. That's why I was asking. I was trying to understand.
Why the joint,
Yeah.
the
Well,
company?
I'd be willing to modify the motion that it could be the 2 existing doors still functioning as they originally did in reconditioned format. As 2 independent
I wasn't
doors.
trying to persuade you. I was just trying to.
Yeah, I'm good with
Clarify,
that. I was just going by what he said last time.
Yeah.
And then, because I'm looking at these, they're rectangle, but the arch.
The transom is over top.
Needs to be
Needs it just like it is.
Yeah.
Like it was.
like
Like
it
it-
was.
I'm sorry, like it
Yeah,
was, yeah.
okay,
Like it was.
Original.
Yeah, it is gone.
Yes, including the transom as original.
Okay, would you repeat that, please? So,
I move to approve the reconditioning of the historic front doors into a functioning format. And that can be either 2 independent leaves or 1 leaf if he so chooses to use the 2 leaves. And the transom restored as original.
okay. Any questions?
Did I hit it that time?
Yeah, I think so. Is there a second?
I'll second it. I want to discuss it.
Okay.
Eve, can you help me out on doors? I don't recall ever reading anything about joining doors, or is that good? Is that bad? Looking even at the transoms, it looked like they split. I don't know that I'm in favor of it, but I'm one person and.
I'd be willing to delete the
biased.
making it 1.
But if there's precedent, precedent's not the right word, if there's a good reason or if it's permitted, then I don't want to stand in the way.
I don't think it would be unpermitted if they still were the 2 visually, because in a closed position, they look like
2 doors?
2 doors. But if they
Minus
hinge,
the jam.
yeah, if they
seam,
hinge
right?
as one,
Maybe I'm old school. It was built with 2, I want to say it was 2, but
I'm
I'm
okay.
a person.
I'm okay if we
Yeah.
want to. I've rewritten it twice, I can rewrite it a third.
Well, again, I'm not trying to persuade you. We're discussing it, right? So I'm sharing, I guess, my position.
Clearly, the easiest route is going to be as 2 independent operating doors.
I think he proposed making 1 door, and we approved him doing that a million years ago, it seems. Why, with all the work that he needed to do in that house, he wanted to do that? So we've kind of already proved the concept that he would turn those 2 doors into 1.
I don't,
But he's changed, he redid
Yes.
the.
I don't remember what the
some new
original
format.
COA was, 3 months ago?
no, it was more like a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Forever ago, yeah.
So would you like to amend the motion to approve 1 door?
So it's only, it
I
can
mean,
only be done as 2
that it would be
doors.
2 doors
Just
as
as
original.
original.
If you
Well,
would.
we'd have to vote down my motion first,
No, you can amend it, I think.
can we?
Yeah.
Then I do so.
Well, and then you would have to agree.
I'll second.
Yeah.
such amendment.
So I delete the one door
So it can only be
format.
two, he can only rebuild it or reuse the existing as it
Yes.
was.
Yeah,
Yes,
and the transom has to be
And the transom.
restored. Okay.
similarly.
Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
I don't think the door was ever part of the original application, which was part of the problem, because he started doing work to it without approval.
Yeah.
Mm.
My memory's anything but ironclad, but I think I would have said, help me understand how you're gonna join this door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now tell us about the window, what, the rest of the windows?
Yeah, so then he has those rectangular windows, and then he also changed the shape and the location of the openings.
And
Can we
the
go to an
size.
original picture of what was
Yeah.
at the rear? As opposed to that?
I think he changed the size when I was out there.
So that's, he took those out, but these are all rectangular. Some of these didn't exist. Let's see.
There.
Yeah, so that was the original. That's what it is now.
And
I think it, I
Did-
mean, wouldn't we say the same thing, that we would want to see the picture that you had?
And didn't we last month on that? I feel like.
Tabled.
We tabled everything.
Oh, we tabled, okay.
The
Yeah,
picture
the
you-
only thing we approved last month was the metal roof.
So go to the picture that you had of the side. Original side,
Oh, the original.
I'm sorry, that. I mean, would we not, would you all be amenable to a motion that says, go back to this, just like we did to the front of the house? So I'd
So
make that
shapes,
motion.
openings.
Yeah, that the side elevations be He said it was infill because there was a kitchen there, but that will go away in this new format. I think it was cut up into multiple apartments, I guess, at one point.
And one was in a closet, he said.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'll keep the moths out. So is there a second to that
Second.
motion? Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Is there any more business to come before us today? If not, we are adjourned. Thank you.